Starting up. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Tenkaara in the world. This is Deep as the Abyss.
Deep
Our deep talk. We got Nonetheless and Indigenous
vibes.
Indigenous Vibe. All right. Okay. So how you brothers doing today?
Man, I'm doing great, man. You know, it's the weekend, relaxing with the family,
Oh, that's
taking it all in.
I'll tell you something. I got my family in my 20s, early 20s, and tell you the truth, that was one of the most important game changer of my life. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I was a terror, really, but I was like underlying terror. You know what I mean? I was like a
Hmm.
good son, but the thing about it is, I was starting to get into trouble, and it's like the universe was like, "Baby," you
Yeah,
know what I mean? And
hmm
it was the best, honestly, best time of my life, man. My son now is 22 years old. He has a son. You know what I mean? He's married.
hmm,
He's like, very successful personal trainer. Um, his wife is also into fitness as well. You know, good peoples, man.
yeah. I feel the same way. I remember when my son was first born, man. I was excited, man. I mean, it wasn't anything like they try to put it out like it's a big burden. I mean, some guys are actually excited when they haven't been when their significant other gets pregnant, man. You know what I mean, and is ready for the challenge. You know
I
what I'm
was scared
saying?
as hell.
I wasn't scared, man. I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't scared.
Man, I was terrified. I was like, what are you gonna do? Like, what? We are not, I don't have, like, no education, like, no money, like, what are we gonna do? But then after, it was just like, it seemed like you come here pre-programmed to be a father. You know what I mean? To be a good dad. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So it's like you hear that song, Papa was a Rolling Stone. Like, the thing is that even though the man's a Rolling Stone, he still like was there. Like, I know for a fact that nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Like,
hmm,
you want to be there for your son, man. You see how this world is so manipulative. Like, I got a daughter right now, and it's manipulative. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
man, yeah,
But
yeah,
I know for a fact that my children, um, ignited the inner child within me, and I started getting down to their level. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm,
anytime they did something wrong, I actually knelt down to their level, looked them eye to eye, and let them know I had a conversation with them. You know what I'm saying? I had a conversation with them and asked them questions, and let them see the error of their ways, instead of like, what the hell are you doing? You can't do this, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
Like, not like my mom, and like my parent was frustrated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But with me, I actually got down to their level, and I was like, okay, do you know why I'm punishing you? And they're like, no. Okay, this is what you did, and this is why do you think you did that? I don't know. Well, think about it. You know what I mean? And then after a while, our children are way smarter than us. And the way I say that they're way smarter than us is that our children are half the father, half the mother, right? And all the accumulation of knowledge, if you want to go on like the genetic level, they have all that information that builds up them, and all they're doing is adding on you and the mother. You see what I mean?
hmm
So they're doubly smart. They're smarter than us. I think they have the knowledge of the whole entire universe, but we dumb them down so we can actually communicate with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how I looked at my daughter and my son. And with my daughter, I made sure that she could read, write, and do math before kindergarten. And when she got
hmm,
to kindergarten, she was teaching the class, like help teaching the class. And it was funny because the teacher was like, your daughter's brilliant. Like, we'd like to put her in a different grade. And I'm like, no, let her be her. I'll ask her if she wants to, you know,
Hmm.
go move forward.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because kind of that's what you said was is actually true. You know, with the younger generation, because I think that the younger generation gets a bad rap when they say, you know, because of the situation coming up in the '70s, in the '80s, we actually didn't have the information the way it's presented today. You know what I'm saying? So even though it's a lot of distractions up there with cell phones, you know, you always hear that. Well, the young generation, oh, they got cell phone, they got this, they got that.
Hmm.
But the key is from our generation, about people in their late, you know, their 30s and 40s, 50s, you know, and older, we now, if we can build on this generation right now, give them the right information along with the technological skills that they have,
Hmm.
we actually going to reverse everything that they thought we couldn't. You know what I mean? We're going to do some great things.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And one thing I learned because I posted on my page my uncle is a jazz musician. You know, he just came up with an album yesterday, right?
Hmm.
So he's real heavy into jazz. I mean, he's like a legend. You know, he's not a like a legend. He's a legend in the Maryland area in Baltimore. Like
Hmm.
everybody knows John Lampkin. You know what I'm saying? On
Hmm.
the East Coast, really with and my his son, which is my cousin John in DC. Everybody knows him. You know, drum. He got drum of the year. But they into jazz real heavy, right? So
Hmm.
they carry the torch for jazz. But one thing I learned about music when it came from the blues, when it came to the jazz and the rock era, and then on the hip hop,
Hmm.
what was going on in all those eras, right? And the pale faces finally caught on was that through music we was changing the reality
Hmm.
with messages and frequencies in those art forms. You know,
Okay.
even with the dance, our dance, because we was forcing our culture. We was maintaining our own thing. And when
Hmm.
you maintain your own style, your own culture,
Hmm.
you never assimilate into somebody else's reality. You see what I'm saying?
That's
So
true.
so now when you do that so now when people say, well, you know, well, what have you done? Our people maintain their own identity through music, through dance. You know what I mean? Even though it's entertainment, and I know people say, oh, we got it entertainment, but we was maintaining our own thing. That's why when it get kind of controversial when people say, well, you're not this, you're not that. This is why I'm not really that hard on Noble Girardi and a lot of these people because all he was doing was trying to maintain something that we could have if we wanted it. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
If you want it, you can have it because this is yours. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, that's fine. But
Yeah.
he let us have an anchor onto our own identity, and it's just all it was is a doorway to say, look, this is yours. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
This is your culture. You know what I mean? All of us wasn't musicians. Everybody wasn't a jazz musician. Everybody wasn't a music, but we listened to it. You know what I mean? And it was ours. It was our hairstyles. It was our afros. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Nobody could do that in the world, but grow a hair like that. Nobody could dance like that. Nobody could
Yeah.
sing like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Also, is what do you call it? The everything in the world, everything in the universe deals with vibrational frequency,
Right.
and we are the best at manipulating vibrational frequency. If you really think about it, like on a deeper aspect, we are closer to the creator because, like, we look at a wall and we say that wall is solid, but when you look closer at that wall, the atomic structure of the wall is hollow. It's not hollow, but I mean they're not it's not a solid structure, right? And it's still vibrating at a certain frequency that makes the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything in the universe is comes into frequency and vibration, right? And
Right.
energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Certain music that we make, it actually touches us so deep in our soul that you have no choice but to move.
Yep.
You ever notice that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why they don't have any rhythm. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying?
Somebody just joined the call.
Hey, brother, how you doing? Welcome, welcome.
Think you got your mic muted. Oh, there you go.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can hear you, bro. Hmm.
Oh, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
What's
Man,
up?
we
What's
good,
up?
man.
This is
What's
the
up, man?
first.
Good,
Welcome to
man.
the
Just
first
building.
deep talk. We're just chilling, having deep conversations.
Yeah. Homeboy
Introduce
Indigenous
yourself.
Vibes sent me the invite.
Oh,
Introduce
that's
yourself.
what's up.
A little about yourself. What's up?
I'm sorry.
Introduce yourself, man.
Oh, okay. My name is Joshua. I'm one of Indigenous Vibes homies. Me and him met our freshman year of college, and we've been cool ever since. He was actually the one that put me on to the knowledge of indigenous peoples in the Americas and kind of started me on, and I'm saying, this school of knowledge, the school of thought.
Excellent. What did you study in college?
I'm sorry,
What
like
did you
breaking up
study
a
in
little bit.
college?
Oh, I graduated with a degree in psychology and biology.
That's awesome. So, what do you think? Do you think that as a psychologist, because I'm gonna call you what do you call it, doctor? What do you think? Do you think that we should create a rehabilitation like format for our people that's been incarcerated? Because if you really think about it, it's kind of a traumatic experience. You know what I mean? You were kidnapped, you were locked up, and who knows what they're doing to you in jail? Who knows what they're feeding you in jail? A certain portion of your life has been taken away from your family, right? And then when you look at the laws that are out there, they're basically of foreign nature, and you know,
Oh, I definitely agree with that idea because the notion of prisons, especially as they work in this country, is not designed to rehabilitate. It's designed to create recidivism. Just everything about the whole process. You take people that were in certain socioeconomic conditions to lead them to commit certain crimes. You lock them up with other like-minded individuals. You give them the label of criminal, and then in the event that they're released, they go back to the same conditions that led them to commit crime in the first place, while also making it harder for them to participate in quote unquote productive aspects of society, like getting back into school or finding livable jobs and things like that. And the entire process of being locked up, it definitely changes you. It definitely changes you. And I think in general, our people need to heal from a lot of things, but that goes doubly so for those of us that have been incarcerated.
yeah, because I know for a fact that in the Netherlands, they when you do commit a crime, they actually put you through like a format where you're rehabilitated, and then you can go back out into society and become, like you're not feel left out. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like this mentality is still in the old school days where you do something wrong and you're put in the corner with a pointy hat. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And for the rest of your life, you look at your file and oh, you're a convict. You can't get a job. You can't do this. You can't do that. You know what I mean? And it's just and I understand. I totally see where they got it from because if people don't know, um, the first prison colony, right, outside of Europe was America. It wasn't Australia.
Really?
It was. You can look it up, man.
That I did not know that.
Okay. Let's say Christopher Columbus asked for what do you call it? Men from Isabella, right? Queen Isabella. I think it's Queen Isabella, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
what she did, she opened her prison. She sent all her prisoners that was in prison. You see what I'm saying? So
Didn't the
no wonder.
majority go to like Georgia or something?
Well, they first sent them to South America, and that's why the whole what do you call it? The whole convict mentality. You see what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
politicians, they're descendants of convicts. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The government is descendant of convicts, kissing the ass of their wardens. And look at when you go to vote. Ward 10, Ward 8, Ward 7, right? You become a ward of the state because guess what? You have a babysitter, which is your warden. You know what I mean? That puts you in that ward mentality, becoming a ward of the state, which is a child of the state.
Wow.
You see?
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see the whole convict mentality, and that's the one thing that a lot of our people don't understand, that these laws and rules and regulation and these codes that are made from um, the Europeans are made from the convicts, not the Europeans themselves. Because I've talked to people from Europe, they seem to have a different mentality than these people who are here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
No, I definitely see what you're saying about that, and especially what you said about the Netherlands and their convict rehabilitation programs. Um, Another thing that's done very differently in comparison to our mental health services and how it works in other countries is the emphasis of medications over here. Like that's pretty much how the vast majority of mental health is handled in this country through the administration of various psychotropic medications and things of that nature. When research shows that for the vast majority of things, from depression to anxiety to a whole host of other mental issues and disorders, that medication is not the best route. So if we was to start doing rehabilitation programs for convicts, it would have to be done in such a way where we're promoting other forms of therapy and not just dosing them up and then putting them on the street.
Well, how about educating them? Like, but when if you go in, you come out learning how to weld. You come out, you learn how to do something. You know what I mean? You learn you become a what do you call it? I don't know, anything. A carpenter, um, something dealing with a trade or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
See the structure that this government doesn't understand is, in the world we have the most people locked up. Like, you want to go around the world telling the people, oh, you got to do this and you got to do that, but it's like you don't even know how to run your own country.
And then, like 1/4 of the world's prison population lives in America.
Yeah. But then again, if you look into it, all of the what do you call it, prison population, there's more people in prison in America than the whole entire world. You know what I mean?
All right.
Can you imagine how many like geniuses they've actually locked up? Because you got to be pretty smart to not go against the grain, not go with the grain. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
You think don't they got like laws in place in other countries that don't allow them to necessarily mass incarcerate like how
yeah.
we do over here?
Well, certain countries you can also buy off a cop too. You know. But then the
Yo,
thing about it is the bribes that come from or go to police seems like it's coming from the lobbyists who are lobbying the politicians or the senators. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, but a lot of those countries, you don't want to be in their prison. Like our prisons are bad, but man, it's some horror stories. Like you in these foreign countries, you get locked up in their shit. It's
like
a
like
different.
in Russia.
Yeah, bro. I mean, dude.
they
Yo,
treat
I know people in other countries that say, man, look, you rather them execute you than go to prison. And in like in Africa or Europe, one of these, man, you don't want to go in those prisons, man.
hmm
Well, I guess it depends on which country, because you got countries like Sweden and the Netherlands, where their jails are freaking jokes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They got flat
Hmm.
screen TVs in their jail cell.
Well, they got that
And
here, you know.
all kinds of other shit.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, like, I think psychologists and you know, see, the reason why I said that if they had a rehabilitation center where if you do something and you do go in, you come out with something, you come out learning something, so that therefore you can put yourself on a different track. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, not
Instead
just
of
throwing you back into the same condition that led you there to begin with, and now
and
you're in an even worse spot.
like tell you the truth, if I had money, I would create a organization where I'm just hiring convicts. You know what I mean? Because I know
Mm-hmm.
for a fact that they're gonna go in, but they're gonna come out with a trade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
building houses and stuff like that. I need carpenters. I need like what do you call it? Fitters, right? And all that kind of stuff. That's a whole economic structure that could take us out of this. But then again, I could see the whole situation. Why? Because they don't want this place. Like honestly, oh, let's make America great again. But guess what? I'm going to lock up a whole bunch more people. I'm going to build walls. I'm going to separate this and I'm separating that. Well, you're not really making America great, are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
America,
Like,
like, like to tell you the truth, if he was smart, he'd be like, okay, let's make America great. Okay, there's going to be prison reform, right? We're going to make sure that everybody's educated. We're going to take away private prisons because honestly, if I have a private prisons, I don't really have to listen to anybody, do I?
Nope.
Now that's actual modern day slavery because now I have a workforce that I have working for me. You know, it makes you wonder. Let's audit a private prison. How about that? Oh, really? Let's audit a private prison because the thing is, who is funding this privatization, right? And according to military status, that's the lowest form of the government is private, right?
mm-hmm.
In what
Hmm.
state? In what states do we have these private prisons? So majority of these private prisons are they owned by senators?
Oh yeah, a lot of them actually are because um something that I have learned relatively recently is that you know when someone is incarcerated, a lot of times they end up being taken out of whatever city or state that they're in and housed somewhere else, and that they can be used as kind of like political currency, like they count towards the number of constituents of that particular ward or whatever, despite not having any actual rights.
Okay, so isn't that modern day slavery? So basically, the circle has gone into the whole fruition where coming over here was to conquer and enslave through damn versus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we have the modern day slavery. Most of the senators, if you trace their genealogy, um, they are related to people who took advantage of people in the past, slave masters, right? And now they're at a position of power, owning people again and using them as financial manipulation in this reality.
Yeah, that's a fact. Hey, but one the hardest thing for us to well for me to try to get a grasp is this: when you now changing somebody else's culture and making them assimilate to your culture been going on since the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning of time. Now these particular people, these pale faces, right? With I think the mistake or the thing that they don't realize is this: when we was doing it, we was actually really it was we was actually still connecting ourselves with the past. You know what I mean? With the ancestors. See, we didn't. I believe that we still had an honor system where we still honored our ancestors. At the same time, we was doing things that wasn't so good. At the same, well, I'm not saying our people was angels. What I'm saying is our people were still giving homage and not lying in history. It is cases where you see kings changing stories and making them seem like they was victorious and they really wasn't. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about what I'm talking about is a total fictitious reality. This is what I think is new for these past 200 to 300 years. That these pale faces actually made in our whole reality. I can't think of I haven't read in the books where civilization actually was totally false. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're finding out that you can't do that. You know what I mean? It's not working.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So
probably now in this day and age, it's much harder to conceal information in the age that we live now. It's not like back in the day where, in order to have access to, you know what I'm saying, esoteric knowledge or things outside of mainstream knowledge, you had to search 18 different libraries and go into the catacombs below the library and read this book and that book. Or if you wasn't lucky enough to be born to a family that was, on their due diligence. Nowadays, everything is a Google search away. You know, it's much easier to have access to knowledge outside of the mainstream in today's time.
yeah, yeah, but see, okay, but I think that yeah, that was the case. Back then, you can easily switch it. What I'm saying is, what they've done is they made it where they actually tried to make it seem like it was this human being is better than this human being this because of their skin color. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't I don't see that thousands of years ago. It wasn't about that. You know what I mean? Because we knew that we came in all shades, all hues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't I can't I'm not reading this where 1,000 years ago. Well, yeah, yeah, you do read about when people was certain albinos was looked at as unclean. You know what I'm saying? But not just but we're seeing these people actually say because they're light skinned, they're better, they're more advanced. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. They Because see, me and Tenkaara we came up in the era where where being light was like the thing. You know what I mean?
Light
Being
skin
white
is the
was a
right skin.
yeah, man. Having that I mean, being light skinned and was
Hold on.
beautiful.
Like somebody needs to turn down their background, or just mute the mic.
Yeah, it's just like a little static in the back every when he come in a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it was just going in and out. But yeah, man, I'm that's the thing that I'm trying to figure out. Like, what was these people? What was their goal? Dude, how did they figure they was gonna get away with this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Uh,
the thing about it is when you look into it, the census is
Uh-huh.
definitely one because now
Okay.
it was a way to separate you, right? Because what I've noticed
Hmm.
is over in Europe, they like to separate things. They like to build up borders and build up walls, and it's you see it. It's like I said, what goes around comes around, and it's coming around again.
Right.
Germany built up a wall in Germany to separate Germany from Germany. Okay, they what do you call it? You go over to Korea, right? And when Korea was one place, when the European got there, guess what? They built up a wall to separate Korea from Korea. You see what I mean?
hmm
Vietnam, they built up a wall to separate Vietnam from Vietnam. Look at America. They built up a wall now they're building up walls to separate America from America. They don't like an open space. They don't like open-minded thinking. They don't like because honestly, when you really think about it, If I go to Mexico right now, do you really think I'm gonna be like, what do you call it? Treated with disrespect? No, because if I treat them with respect, they're gonna give me respect. It's like
Mm-hmm.
when I go back home to Jamaica, right? I'll tell you a little story. My stepfather, he went back home to Jamaica, and he's Jamaican, and he started disrespecting Jamaican. You know what they did to him? They stabbed his ass.
Damn.
Okay, they stabbed him up. He came back with a huge gouge in his belly, and I'm like, "What happened to you?" Oh, this man stabbed me, right? And then he's telling us one story. Then when we get the whole true story, right? He was acting like he was better than they were. Well, they brought him back to reality. You see what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's up to us to bring these people back to reality. For real.
Yeah.
Are we better than these Mexicans? No, we're not. They're brothers and sisters just like everybody else. This is America, Jack. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like for real. Oh, they're coming. They're invading us. Invading us. Do you realize that Texas, California, New Mexico, all the way up to Utah is Mexican property?
Yep.
They're just going home. You know what I mean? You
Mm-hmm.
build up. They like to build up these imaginary borders. Check this out. If I go to cross the border, right? And I actually stop at a border crossing, do you know that I am considered an insane individual because there's an imaginary line? It's
Right.
imaginary. Now I'm a child. You made me now a ward of Europe because your children believe that there's imaginary line from North Pole to South Pole.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a psychologist. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, for the people that, and I'm saying, put these systems in place, I don't think for them it's an actual belief in the ideology of, oh, these people are invading and this, that, and the third. For them, it's a means of inserting and maintaining a particular status quo, and that the propaganda they create around it is what like the common folk believe in. You feel me?
Well, it's funny because this is the age of information. We can look up and realize that even our president can't hide from his past. You know what I mean?
Uh
Our
huh.
prime minister can't hide from his past, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
What do you call it? Nobody can hide from their past. You know what I'm saying? And if we did an audit on every single senior senator, they're not going to be able to hide from their past. You know? Did any one of those people who got shot by any cop, they can't hide from their past. Did a full psychological evaluation on this individual before you gave him a gun to go out there to serve and protect? You see what I
Probably
mean?
not.
The psych eval told them that they were the perfect person to mold into a race soldier.
Well, the thing is, then join the army because it seems like anyone who's ever died at the hands of these people, um, there had to be some kind of fear. You got to be a coward to be shooting the child. You got to be a coward to use excessive force on a woman. You know what I mean? You got to be scared as hell. There's no bravery in there. And if you read their oath, there's no bravery. They said, "Oh, I have to be brave in my course of duty." There's no bravery. There's none. It's cowardly, you know. And it seems like a lot of these. It seems like the rich are getting richer, but the thing about it is they realize that there is more poor people on this uh, plantation. That's what I'm going to call it because that's what it's turning back into, right? And we keep acquiescing. Who's that on? Greetings, greetings. This is the Aboriginal Hebrew. What up, Trentis? How you doing?
What's up, Trent?
Yeah, what up, bro? Hey, I got a question, Tenkaara. Maybe I'm trying to build on something, right? Listen, all right. The problem that I see when they jump the border and when people come here, I'm looking through the United. I'm trying to play devil's advocate, right? So when these people come over here, right? Unlike natural born citizens into this country, we're already bonded, right? We're real life bond men and bond women because that birth certificate is a bond, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which bounds us to the United States. Without that, we're pretty much we're free. You know what I mean?
It
We as we as
bounds us to the corporation.
right. So that's how we get bonded, right?
Yep.
So when you jump that border, though, they don't have any records of you. You have no bond. And when they separate the mother and the parents from their children, like they're doing now, what they're doing is, I'm pretty sure I don't have evidence or nothing like that, but what they're doing is they're creating bonds,
Oh, they're creating a bond on the child
right?
and then
You see them,
holding.
you see what I'm
Ah,
saying, Tinkar?
yeah, yeah. I see
Mm.
exactly what you're saying. So they're just create. It's just like the financial system. They're just printing.
Right.
They're printing money.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
So
Because
it seems like they're paying Mexico to be
yep.
assholes so that these people are running towards the border.
Right.
You know what
And
I
that's
mean?
why and that's why it's a holdup because what they're doing is they're getting the records of these people's birth and they're getting possession of their birth records, the bond, the
Mhm,
certificate of
mhm.
birth. And once they got that, now they can put that on the market.
Yep. And then next thing you know, there's a whole bunch of pale face with Mexican children.
Exactly.
Right?
I guess you
Exactly.
also
Another way to
figure
another way
they
to
gotta
steal property.
maintain their grip on the system that they're trying to put in place. Because you figure, all these Republican legislators and policymakers that are pushing, tight border patrol and all that, are the individuals that profit the most from illegal immigrant labor.
Exactly.
So they gotta maintain that because it seems like the whole plan is being put in place is that illegal immigrants are supposed to be our replacements as the labor force for America. Like they want to get rid of all of us black folk and slowly start moving immigrant labor as the means of sustaining this country. So the convenient thing with them is that, what I'm saying, once you're done using them, you can always deport them. They can't deport us. They got nowhere to deport us to.
Yeah,
So
that's
they end up being a much more convenient labor force.
uh,
Right. Right. But see, you gotta understand this. When the most money is made from human, has always been from human trafficking. They're still doing it, just more sophisticated now with these bonds. So when you really read into and you know what they're doing when they create these birth certificates and they got Dobb and Bradstreet, which is a private um trading company where they trade your. This is where you get your DUNS number. You get your DUNS number where you can actually track a bond, and
mhm,
then you know what I'm saying. But the QSIP number is how the bonds are created through
mhm,
applications. You see what I'm saying? So now, once you really know how the bonds are created, our women will then realize that the more children that you have, the more money you control. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
So adopting the more look, having children is the most profitable thing that you could do
Yep.
when you know the system, when you know what's going on. That's why these people have children. That's why they always concentrating on the children.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
I,
saying?
I thought they just concentrate on the children because they're pedophiles.
Well, well,
It
yeah,
should have
yeah. I
got something
mean,
to do with it.
yeah, you,
Because
yeah, you got a bunch of beasts out there. You know what I mean?
you
You
got
got
you
ones that want to,
you
yeah.
got
You got ones
you
that got
got you
these
got
fetishes. Yeah,
you got what do you call it? You got the Democrats with their pizza parties,
right.
and you got what do you call it? You got the Republican. I bet you, man. You got priests. You know what? I'm actually glad Um, I read a document on that the Pope Francis put out, and he is now cleaning up his house. He is not putting a blind eye to those who have uh, basically betrayed the trust of young individuals in the church. He's going after all of those people, straight up. And honestly, um, with like civil order July 4th, 2014, he's cleaning the house, man. It's about time somebody stands up and like start realizing that hey, you wanted to become you wanted to what do you call it create a service industry, and the people who were creating the service or you hired to do the service is taking advantage of that their position,
Do you
right?
believe that to be genuine though?
What's that?
What the Pope is saying about quote unquote cleaning house, or is that just kind of like for publicity,
Tell you the truth.
trying to preserve the
At,
name
at,
of the Catholic Church?
tell you the truth. At this moment, I don't trust none of those motherfuckers. But the thing about it is, if he is doing like we're noticing a lot of these pedophiles, they're coming out of the woodwork. We're knowing about this judge and this
Hmm.
priest, that priest, and this senator and that senator. Like
Hmm. Yeah.
it's to tell you the truth. He knows his time. He knows time has come. Their time has come. You know what I'm saying? Their time has come. They're now on the chopping block.
So you might just be trying to like stay
Taking
ahead of the narrative.
No, bro.
you know.
You no when anytime you do anything, you have to make it. You have to have the appearance of you being righteous.
Yep.
So with what's going on, what went on before recently, like I say, probably after 9/11. See, 9/11 was is a perfect example because we was all gun ho like, oh, these terrorists are, the media made it seem like the Islamic faith was against Christianity. It was Christians against Muslim type of deal, right? But but it wasn't true. But this is how the propaganda is being spread. So the United States, one thing you gotta know about the United States, they do not want to be embarrassed. None of these palefaces in Europe and the Vatican, they do not want to be embarrassed. You know
That's
what
true.
I'm saying?
That's true because
So
they have to save face worldwide.
right, right. So because you have, even if it's not true, you have to make it appear like you're being righteous. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So if they're not, they have to do something about it to get the people's energy back on their side. You know what I mean? It's almost like a spiritual debt. You know what I mean? This is where the
Well,
debt. You see, right now they're in debt because they're looking bad around the world. You know what I mean? They have to build back up that credit with the public. You see what I'm
yep.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
that it's real. That credit is real. The sins, and you have to build your credit back up with the people. And
well,
once they start looking more like the righteous and the good people that that they're not, they just got to make it that way. Then
yep,
they'll go back to the evil shit that they was doing.
yep.
It's up to
Well,
us to say no. You all, we know what y'all up to. Y'all will never be. You know what I mean? Righteous
that's
because
true.
we know what you're doing. But it's
Okay.
gonna be some people that are like sheep, you know what I mean, that's gonna say, oh man, they look what they're doing, So when they do this, we have to they leaving the door open, so now we need to walk in there like, okay, we're gonna take advantage of y'all leaving the door open right now. And we coming into the house clean. You ain't they saying they clean the house, we gotta be the real ones going in there cleaning up.
Well, we are the ones with the power actually does lie in our hands. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, Corporations have taken the place of government. You know what I mean? And nobody said nothing about it.
Hmm.
Really, when there's no who do they answer to? Who does the Rothschilds answer to? Who does J.P. Morgan answer to? Right? The Pope says he answers to God, but guess what? Uh,
We all do.
we all do. You know,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
What
Yeah.
one thing? What's
He.
one thing we have in common? Isn't it death?
Mhm.
You see what I mean? That's one thing
And
we have in common. So
and
guess
breath.
what? They a lot. I've noticed a lot more people are getting closer and closer to their maker, and what are they doing? They're scared as hell. Now they come. You hear people coming up with cloning and all this kind of stuff. You know,
Mhm.
it's more mind fuckery. I don't believe, like I'm telling you, I really don't believe in anything that anybody is actually saying because they've lied so much. You know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
But
you heard about the they got these things called I don't know if they call it sleeves or something. But
oh
it's like
yeah,
pretty much something like where they say like where they download the human consciousness somehow into like this
Digital
art
format.
yeah.
yeah, and into an artificial body that doesn't need to eat or sleep or anything like that. Like
No, I know,
that,
I
that
know, I know. The thing is if anybody ever decided to clone my ass, I'm getting together with my clones, and we're causing some
said,
trouble.
said me and my clone gonna catch a wreck.
You know what I mean? Calling all clones. If you're a clone of me, guess what? You're welcome because you come see me and we'll do some shit. Can you imagine? There's a whole army.
Right.
Be like, all right then.
They operate on a hive mind or some
Eh?
shit.
I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. I'm Tenkaara. No, I'm Tenkaara. I'm
And that,
Tenkaara.
that's gonna be the fall of your army. They none of them gonna remember which one is the original.
No, it's all good. I'll know who's the original.
They
You
all
know,
gonna think they the real one.
that's what I want him to think. You know what I mean? Because then we have original thought. We can all come together. You know what I mean? If you remember, what do you call it? Gods of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Gods of Egypt. How Thoth in his lair, there was how many? A thousand Thoth walking around doing something different, just thinking, constantly thinking. You know?
I didn't even really like that movie because I couldn't really watch it because who the
That movie,
actors and all that ruined it
how
for me.
man, we all know the gods of Egypt ain't freaking what do you call it, man? They ain't pale face.
It's just like I don't know, man. It was I watched a couple of the fight scenes. Like I seen when he was fighting what's his name? What's the name of that? I don't forgot the name of that guy. Um his uncle. What's his uncle name? The uncle of Hero.
Oh, I wasn't even paying attention. Tell you the truth, because that movie, I was just so disappointed that historically it was bullshit.
Yeah, that's why I
You know
couldn't
what I
really
mean?
get down with it.
Even Wakanda, even Black Panther, historically bullshit. Like there is no such thing as a Black Panther in Africa. Okay, but if you look in Peru, you will see sexy woman who is, or that structure is in the shape of a kuma. So we all know where Wakanda actually really was. Maybe that's why it made a trillion dollars or $1 billion.
I just appreciated Black Panther for what it was. A movie that was well done and that had some pretty good representation of melanated people. That's pretty much the most I could have expected from anything that comes out of Hollywood.
Mm. They need to take Hollywood back to Caucasus, Caucasus Mountains. For real.
right. But you know what they don't, what they always ignore over there in Georgia, Russia.
Mm.
They always ignore for some reason. Because I was just researching this today. Is a town over there, not a town, but it's a civilization over there that they always ignore called Petra.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about, Tenkar?
The ones who walk on all fours.
Yeah, and you know where Petra is, where they got these caves right in Georgia. It's right
Mm-hmm.
there near. It's near the edge, like on where Israel is off the Mediterranean Sea.
Mm-hmm.
But you can actually see where it was a civilization that living in those caves in Petra, right? And you can see where they was designing architecture, where they was actually learning. And this is where these Caucasians came from. Was from Petra,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you can see the progression. Now they say that it's unknown who was there and all this stuff. I'm like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's where y'all came from. Y'all
Hold
came
on,
from
hold
Petra.
on. This is what I don't get. How can majority of the world be unknown?
Right.
No, really. It's like, okay, the Dark Ages. Did they like you got the Dark Ages, the Renaissance, all the kind of stuff. How can you still not know nothing? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah.
You come over here and basically destroy the culture that was here. How come you still don't know nothing? You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, somebody's lying somewhere.
Yo, I
But
was just a, well. Here's another thing that I find interesting. Right. I find it interesting that Saint Nicholas, right, who is where they get the story of Santa Claus from, right?
yeah,
Saint Nicholas was is known to be in the third century, right? From what I researched. Now he was in conflict with the Council of Nicaea. It was two different ones. I think I forgot his name. It was begin with a P. Well, they both had both. The philosophy was this. What the argument was that how can Jesus be God because the Father is how can I explain it? The Father precedes the Son. You know what I'm saying? So one was trying to explain it where well, in the spirit, and one is the physical. It was basically the same thing that we argue with today was going on back then. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Now, Constantine stepped in, and Saint Nick. No, it was Pythius. One. I think it was Python. One of them in the Council of Nicaea. His records got destroyed, and they went with. They didn't go with Saint Nicholas story, but the thing that I got from it was that you can't find none of Saint Nicholas, who they call Santa Claus, who they got the story because he was going around feeding the poor kids, and what he was doing was he was going around with those Slavs in the Caucasus, from what I see in the mountains, giving these people those white kids gifts, the Slavic people.
yeah,
Now the original Caucasians, they wasn't like they don't look nothing like the people now today. You know what I mean? They was melanated. Someone was melanated. Someone was albino or whatever. You know what I mean? It was
mhm.
the whole point that I'm trying to point out is that you're seeing a lot of cover ups over there in Europe about the real story, about what's going on.
But what is the shame? Like I
That's
really
I'm
I
trying to figure that out. That's what I'm
really
trying to figure
I
out.
want to know the shame. What is the shame of all our people, all the peoples around the world? You know what I mean? Japanese don't want to be Chinese, but the thing is, they come from China. You know what I'm saying? Europeans don't want to be Europeans, but they're from Europe.
And you know what? We the only ones that's saying, okay, this is who we are. We 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 looking at history, and we're just thinking like everybody look pretty much like us over here in America. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we're not, if we pushing a false narrative, prove us wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. What's what do you think? What do you think? Or I want to ask everybody on the panel. What do you think? Do you think it is possible that our knowing this information about our indigenous heritage and our Aboriginal heritage, do you think it is possible that the reason why there's such an uproar is because we are on our piece of property? We now knowing this knowledge, it is possible that our brains can be linked to create this reality and change it in days, weeks, and months, and years. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
on a level where it's like I think, therefore I am, because we've been thinking in a different paradigm, thinking that we're not from here or we're not connected to here. But now we know that we're connected to here. Now it's like you'll see more things change. You know what I mean? You'll see that these you'll see our reality, what we want, because when it really comes down to it, like we're very, very powerful spiritual beings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
we have the ability to manipulate our surroundings very, very quickly, because there's only two things you can do with an atom: is add and manipulate. So if we think like where we want to see ourselves, what we want to see done, or what we want to do, it's just us thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just definitely, when you really think of it, is the mindset of the individual that makes the individual who he is. What do you think
What?
about?
What
So
a thing.
so so what is the question again? I'm sorry.
The question is do you think that we as in
What?
Aborigines could get more on a level where we can actually manipulate our surroundings through thought?
Well. Tenkaara, your question is what I got from it. I'm gonna try to rephrase what you're saying because I think I got what you're saying. I think what you're saying is why is the rest of the world so fearful of us knowing that we are the truth? You know what I'm saying? We are the the link to the ancestors. It goes through us, not them. You know what I'm saying? So with us knowing that, you know what I'm saying, we are the archetype of the whole world. You see what I'm saying? So when you our archetype, our the people that we have to answer to, who has the bloodline, are not here. They going through us and then to them.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So if we're not here, you know what I'm saying? They then they then would I guarantee. All right, this is what I see right here. Right, say for instance, none of us are here anymore. They 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 are successful. They get rid of us. I This is what's going to happen. They're going to start giving us homage. Then
They're gonna start what?
they're going to start giving us homage. They're going to start
Oh,
giving us our respect after we're if long as we're not here. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like you know how if you know how when somebody dies and all of a sudden they're like, oh, they were so great. I was like, damn, they saying all this great stuff now that they dead. You see what I'm saying?
it's kind of like watching them um, rediscover our civilizations that they conquered, and was like, oh, these people were amazing.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. But while we're here, they're not. They don't want to put themselves below us because we're here. You see what I'm saying?
but we're still here. That's the thing.
That's the thing. And that's the problem with them. We're still here, and now it's that we're still here, and now that we're waking up, they're gonna have to face reality. The reality that they try to get rid of is still staring them in their face, and it's
Well,
judgment, and then it's going to be judgment on them.
see, I had a thought that the reason why Trump is actually putting up a wall is because more and more of us wake up. We're going to be wanting to visit our place of like beginning, right?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to be wanting to go south. We're going to be wanting to check out our area where we actually came from. Look upon those structures and be like, yeah, this is us. This is our shit. This is me. I made that. You know what I mean?
I've definitely heard, other scholars and other individuals express the sentiment that, listen, the wall isn't meant to keep people out; it's meant to keep us in.
Hmm.
And that would just be in reference to, you know all inhabitants of this country. When the culling starts, it's not just gonna be us getting culled. It's gonna be a large portion of all the individuals that live here. You feel me?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, but is a wall can't keep people in or out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on now.
I mean,
That's
yo, I
not.
seen pictures. I seen pictures of those Mexicans crawling under the wall.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They're like, shit. They'll find a way. We
yeah.
all we are not zoo animals.
No, no,
It
bro.
is
You not.
it
No.
no, honestly, like really, really, man. Like
Mm-mm.
it makes us like remember Trump is a representative of the USA corporation. A lot of the people around the world don't understand that it's a corporation, right?
Yeah.
And it's running a service industry and a business. Now, when he goes around the world, he's a representative, right? Now, really, like it's 20 freaking 19. We've got like electric cars coming, like that was the first thing that was ever created. But I mean, we're standing on the precipice of like, you know, like doing great things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's I'm gonna build a wall. Like like it's like a child in a sandbox, man.
Well, what else can the champions of a dying empire do but
Yeah,
try to preserve the status quo?
but hold on for a second.
It's to be expected.
But wait. Okay, you do realize that the Mexican corporation is a European corporation.
Of course.
There's something called the European Union. Every single corporation on this land known as America is a European corporation, a part of the European Union. So somebody who is a European building a wall in another country. This is not their country. This is our country. So they're building up a wall that's not basically authorized by us. You see what I mean? I don't give a
Hmm.
fuck who the hell this dude thinks he is, but it's not authorized by the aboriginals of this land. Okay? And Mexico is a corporation of the European Union. So what is the wall really for? Really? Is it just to basically say, oh, it's just like the Great Wall of China? Because after it's done, guess what? Somebody's gonna jump in there and be like, we're gonna spend another billion fucking dollars to tear that shit down. It's ugly. It's not
Well,
even nice. It's not even a nice fucking wall, man.
conflict amongst Europeans is nothing new, right? Even back when they were conspiring together to carve out sections of Africa for colonialization, they were still going to war with each other. So them having conflict amongst each other is also something that's nothing new.
I'm
Them
gonna
figuring
tell
out
you,
ways to one up each other.
I fucking highly doubt it. It was a conflict.
What do
I
you
think
mean?
they're all family feud. It's all families.
Yeah, we know
They're cousins. They're
whatever
cousins.
name you want, whatever name you want to put on it. It's kind of like still the same basic concept at play.
Yeah, yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
Because it's a family feud. I went to what do you call it? It was like a military gathering in Canada, and they're showing off all their like they're showing the guns and weapons and trying to recruit people and stuff like that, right? And they showed World War I, World War II, and I was looking at it and I'm like, hold on for a second, why is this region red and the other region green? He's like, oh, this region here in the middle was the neutral zone. I was like, neutral zone? Why didn't this country take over this country? He's like, basically, um, these guys were allied with these people, and these people were allied with these people. I said, hold on for a second. This looks like a family feud. He goes, exactly. That's exactly what World War One was. A family feud. World War Two, it was another family fucking feud. Okay? But these guys were paid to cause trouble. Mussolini paid to cause trouble. Hitler paid to cause trouble. What do you call it? Stalin paid to cause trouble. These guys were funded now by banks to cause trouble, right? The queen herself and her husband had to change their German name to Windsor, the place they're staying at, because their cousin was causing trouble. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's, it's just foolishness, man. I know for a fact. I know for a fact that basically I understand what the wall is for. It's not for us. It's for their European. What do you call it? Children. Okay, we keep thinking that Trump is for us. No, he's for the corporation, which is a European corporation, right? So we keep acquiescing or thinking, oh man, that wall is to keep us in. That wall is to keep them out. No, it's to keep Spanish Europeans out and to keep English Europeans in. That's how I'm looking at it. Because I know for a fact when I decide I'm going to go down to Mexico, yeah, I'm not a part of the corporation. I'm a part of this nation. So thank you. Have a nice day. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, I feel like it's about time, like, the indigenous nations start coming together and creating something, like doing something, like just because I feel like we kind of is like wasting our potential on trying to be a part of this machine, like trying to get a career in this, like in the matrix, like you trying to just be like, it's like Neo when he was in the office building, but he was destined for so much more. But motherfuckers working as a desk clerk at a building, and like like he found a greater path and did whatever it took to get there. Like I feel like us like coming across this knowledge just like a higher calling in a sense, because now you come to find out that this landmass is actually where you originate, where you come from. You don't come from nowhere else. Everybody else comes from somewhere else, but they all here. So it's weird. Like when you walk around, you see so many faces that don't look like you that's here. And there's so many different types of faces, like multiple different types of faces, to the point where people just got comfortable with it because they got guns and they use the law because we don't know how to use the law, but they feel like the law is on their side when in fact it really isn't at all. Like, and if people come to the knowledge of this, we'll be able to start doing things like we was talking about earlier, Tenkaara, the
Mhm.
inventions and everything. It's to the point where we can't come to each other and say like, all right,
You know
let's
what?
invent, like, huh?
The amount of inventions, if nobody really looks realize it, just type in black inventions, the list of black inventors, and we gave the world everything, basically everything came out of America, right? I'm just disappointed that majority of the inventions that are out there and the patents that's at the Department of Commerce, because that's a subsidiary of the Department of Commerce, um, is being like utilized and manipulated by, like I said, foreign corporations. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, like I said, I have some inventions. You have some inventions. I bet you every single person has invention. We should come up with our own patent company, our own patent office,
I agree.
because I know for a fact that they made a law at one time where we weren't allowed to patent stuff. Can you imagine? you make a law that you're not allowed to patent stuff. That's because um, there was so much patents coming out. That's what I'm thinking. Why would you need to make a law?
Oh,
No,
you know, you gotta be able to anything that can be monopolized. They're gonna try and monopolize it.
but yeah, but you gotta understand they have every right to do that because that it was their system. See, once we once we went into their system, it's almost like if you go into somebody's house, they got it's their rules. You know what I'm saying? So when we needed to either maintain our own government, our the last government that we had was the original republic. That was our last government.
Hold on. Was it really the last government? Reason being is that the Magna Carta is from Europe, and they used the Magna Carta to create that government.
Well, yeah, but we were still protected. But we were still protected under the common law. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So yeah, you could say the Magna Carta had a lot to do with the colonization or the oppression, but at the same time, that was still their form of religion. That was their form of faith. You know what I'm saying? So privately, you can't infringe on another nation's private rights because
Well,
the Magna Carta was for the public.
yeah. So check this out. This is what I want to say greetings to Black Indian immigrant.
Yeah, greetings, bro.
What's up, fellas? Hey, man, I wish I could be in this call too, y'all. Real shit. Y'all talking about the shit I love to talk about. But I'm finna head to work. Like, goddamn. But man, I'm sure gonna be tuned in with y'all though. Let y'all know, man. I might get off the phone, but man, I'm sure gonna be watching.
Hey, it's all good, bro. Well, have a great day at work. Yeah, man. You know what? I want to like move the conversation to what do you think um, people can do to increase their internal um, power? I know one is breathing, right? And learning how to breathe is very important. The reason being is that that's the only thing we were never taught how to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you always see, like I watch a lot of kung fu movies, and you always see that breathing is so important that you can build up your chi. You know what I mean? You can build that
Yeah.
energy. There's an energy. Um, what do you call it in your circulation system? That if you learn how to breathe from your diaphragm, right, you can build that internal chi within to increase that power, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd
Yeah.
like to I'd like to ask any of you guys, have you ever like do you guys meditate? Do you guys
Yeah, for real, meditation changed my life. Like, not to go like too deep in the backstory, but like when I like first started like my college career and stuff, and I was like trying to just what's the word? I was in like a process of metamorphosis, becoming myself, becoming an adult, realizing what it means to be an adult coming into manhood while also dealing with like a lot of life issues, like my mom's being diagnosed with cancer and things like that. I eventually like developed panic disorder and anxiety disorder, and like they put me on medications for a while, and the medications was really fucking me up because the side effects on them shits is worse than actually just living with the disease itself. And it kind of took a while for me to discover meditation and the principles of Buddhism. But when I started incorporating those things into my life, it like put me back in control of my life again. Like it made me better than what I was and put me on the path to just improving myself and not being a slave to, my own anxiety and feeling like I had control over my life. Like just to give like a quick synopsis of everything that it grants in me. So I've always been the biggest proponent of meditation. Like anybody I ever meet that tells me they're going through something, I'm like, yo, you need to learn how to meditate, man. I guarantee you it'll change your life.
And what is what is your process? Like, what is one of your process? What is one of your ways to meditate?
Uh, I cycle through a couple of different methods every once in a while, but I found that the one I like the most is I use my mala bracelet, my meditation beads, and I create like a personal mantra. So like, a mantra could mean anything, like, a phrase or some sort of maxim or axiom that means something to you personally. You try to apply as much parsimony to it as possible, as make it as short and concise as possible. And then I recite it to myself and I pass one bead through my finger for every recitation of my mantra. And on a standard mallet bead, a bracelet, there's 108 beads. So I go throughout the entire bracelet and then I flip it over and do it again. So every time I meditate, I'm doing 216 recitations of my mantra. So it's kind of like I'm telling myself what I want to be. I'm speaking into existence what I want to be around me and what I want to see in others and in myself.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I got I'm just learning, about the whole meditation and how to detox your mind and your body and your spirit. But I'm listening to a bunch of different people because I'm to the point now where I'm trying to just soak in all the knowledge I can. But I heard something interesting like last week about the Native Americans, what they would do, well, indigenous people anyway, our people, and what they would do to cure diseases or to really cleanse themselves. You would be inside of I guess, one of the tents, right? They'll set up a tent. They'll boil water like a sauna, right? Now, as the steam, they were sitting there for like 2 days, okay? And while you're in there, you're meditating, and what'll happen is you'll sweat, but you'll sweat all the toxins out of your body,
Somebody gotta
okay?
find
And
it.
and while you're sweating, you won't dehydrate because you're inside of a like what is pretty much a sauna. So you're
Oh, sweat.
breathing in this
You're
moist
talking,
air.
you're talking like a sweat.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, so from
Yeah.
from what they were saying is you can actually cure any disease by doing this.
Yeah. I've actually somebody gotta
Hmm.
like they're in a
Right.
wind.
So
I
no, I
think
didn't
that
hear you. I didn't hear you. What you say?
yeah. I on when was it? On the 2013,
Mm-hmm.
January 1st, 2013 was my first sweat, and I spent 2 hours in a tent while steam was coming off hot rocks.
Okay.
Okay, and I was there with five ladies, and it was like me and the chief, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it, like, to tell you the truth, I never like everybody was sitting down with their legs crossed, but I squatted because I wanted to be like right up there, right? I wanted to be where the steam was the hottest, and I started breathing deep. I started doing like doing meditation. All I saw, a man, when I got out of there, it seemed like everything in my body was like it came out through my pores. It was like my nose was like it's like man, the smell, like outside, the way you could smell, the way you hear, the sight, your eyes were clear, bright. Like, I mean, everything sweat. Like, I mean, if anything was in me, it was dead.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
I just found that interesting because I'm like, man, that's like the total. That's it. I like things that make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like I
yeah,
heard, like my Bob actually put me down because I've been talking to him. So you know how you bringing somebody some knowledge and stuff, and all of a sudden they gonna do their own research and they come to you with stuff that they it's almost like you're like, dang man, Then all he's like, man, I ain't gonna sit here and let you give me no knowledge. He said, they try to come back to you with some stuff that you don't know, which
yeah,
I think is great. You know what I'm saying? but he's into this meditation and breathing. So he told me that he learned that you breathe through your mouth 5 times real quick, and then
Yeah.
you breathe out 5 times real quick through your mouth, and then 5 times quick through your nose, 5 times quick. And I was like, he's like try it, and I was like, so I did it, and I was like, wow, it does make you feel refreshed when I
Mm-hmm.
did that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But then he went in. Then I heard somebody else say, a lot of these priests, what they would do, they would try to only exhale and inhale for like every minute and try to make it longer and longer. Like they'll breathe in for a minute, just breathing in, inhaling for a minute, and then exhale for another minute. You know what I'm saying? So they'll sometimes they'll get so good at it, not well good, or they'll get, I guess their lungs will be so pure, they'll start inhaling for 2 minutes and then exhaling for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about meditation.
Yeah, man.
Like how you can visibly see the results of your training. Like I remember
Yes.
when I would
Yeah.
lose focus after only like 10 recitations of my mantra. Now, I'm at the point where I could do 275 recitations and I'm still on point with it. Like, it's really a beautiful thing. Like you can see how it makes a difference. And um I was watching this TED talk the other day where this one neurologist was going over that physical health benefits of meditation, talking about how after only 8 weeks of consistent meditation, scientists can observe a visual shrinkage in the amygdala, which is the part of your brain responsible for anxiety and fear, while an increase in gray matter and the cerebral cortex and the parts of the brain responsible for memory, emotional regulation, and things of that nature.
Well, the reason being is that your brain, it only works on oxygen. So if anybody ever calls you an airhead, you
I
say
know. I
thank
see
you
it.
very much.
Hey, but I think what people don't realize, and including myself, is that meditation is not just sitting. When people think meditation is just you sitting with your legs crossed on the floor and you just thinking. No, meditation is breathing. It's breathing.
Yep,
You know what I
constantly.
mean?
And
Breathing is, and what people don't realize is that breathing is the number one law that we must master and give respect to, because if you don't breathe, you don't live. You know what I'm
well,
saying?
one thing, I think breathing is one of those um, one of those things that, like I said, we weren't taught how to breathe when we came out of
Right.
the womb. We took our first breath, but nobody told us, okay, just breathe with me. Okay, baby, breathe with me. And you know what? If you actually taught your child when they were freaking out, right? Because I've actually taught my child this. Like when she came out, I was stretching her. I was stretching it like her legs and her arms. I was teaching her how to punch while I had the snuggly and everything like that, doing kicks and you know what I mean. And she'd
Mm-hmm.
see me playing, so we take like when she got a little older, I gave her her own sword, and we just go at it like and basically I showed her like this is what you got to do. When she started screaming, I was like, okay, breathe with me, come on, you could do it, and she calmed down. She learned that all I had to do was just breathe whenever I got upset. So
Mm-hmm.
when when her doing that, it gave her the ability to realize that I looked at her as an equal instead of looking at her as I'm bigger than you, you're smaller than me, I'm your dad, you're my child, you do as I say. You know what I mean? It was like, man, I remembered so many things as what she did when I was a child, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. I remembered a lot of stuff that brought me back to my inner youth. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's I look at her sometimes. I'll be like, hey, don't even try it. I did that already when I was your age, so don't even try it. And she look at me like, you know,
Right.
frustrated, right? But the thing is, one thing when it comes to anxiety. If anybody is ever pissed off or gets stressed out, or um, you know, they can't deal with the situation at hand, I suggest 20 deep breaths through your diaphragm. We all know that when we were, like, singing and stuff like that, they say sing from your diaphragm. And when it comes down to it, if you open your chest cavity, because your ribs, right, is like a cavity, right? If you open up your chest cavity, take a deep breath, but instead of deflating your chest cavity and your ribs, right, start breathing from your diaphragm with your chest open. It actually allows you to absorb more oxygen. The more deeper you can breathe, the more oxygen is obtained by the blood, right? And then it will bring it to the brain. And remember, there's tubules from your brain, or from your nose, your eyes, and your ears, very, very fine tubes that can actually have oxygen go straight into the brain, right?
Mhm.
So you'll start realizing that, you know when you do have anxiety, what do? You hold your breath and you start panting. You start getting that, that tension, right? But once you
Mhm.
start having anxiety and you slow that breathing down, recognize that you have anxiety, recognize that you're getting stressed out, start focusing on your breathing and see what happens.
Mhm. I
That's
heard.
what I'm telling you, man. This shit really works. That's exactly what you just described. Was the exact process that I went through to conquer my anxiety and my panic attacks.
I
Mhm.
just want to say welcome to Jay Susquehanna. What's up? How you doing, bro?
What's up, Jay?
What's
My
up, man?
man.
Peace,
My
peace to the
man.
panel, man. How everybody doing?
Peace. What's up, bro?
What's up, man?
My man.
Ain't nothing.
We're just
Hey,
basically having deep conversations, just letting you know.
hey. But you know what I heard too that made sense? I heard this man. I heard somebody doing a lecture, right? And he was like, he basically said, if you want to calm down, if you're angry, he said, do a math problem. He said, do, you know what I'm saying, like three times three times three. He said,
Yeah.
math deals with another part of your brain. He said, you'll instantly calm down once you start doing math problems
Hmm.
in your mind.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yo, he was,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he was like,
Preoc-
if you, yeah, he's like,
preoccupy your thoughts.
yep. He said, if you meditate, do math problems, or if you in a situation where you just so emotional, you're angry. He said, start doing math problems in your head.
Hmm. That's a good one. Anyone else with what do you call it? In increasing the internal energies? What do you do, Jay?
Huh? Say
What
that
do you?
again. Decrease my internal energy.
Yeah,
I don't.
building your
I
chi.
don't decrease it. I don't decrease it. I don't
No,
bother.
no,
I
increase
mean,
it. How do you increase it?
increase it. Oh man, that's a multitude of things. The way you eat, the way you breathe, the way you think, all that it plays in conjunction with raising your energy level. Because negative energy can pull away from it,
Well,
right?
the thing about it is that we are a form of negative energy, and it's up to us
Right.
to
But
increase
you
our
could be
positive.
you could also be overwhelmed with negative energy if
That's
you're on
true.
the positive side.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? So it's a multitude of things. It's really not just one thing. It's your whole well-being, your whole roundedness.
Hmm.
It's not just not any one aspect of yourself. It's your whole self has to be right, and it will increase automatically. Because a lot of like speaking about us, a lot of our problems stem from our surroundings and what we around, what we're being exposed to. It's kind of like blocking us from reaching certain levels.
That's what I think. I think that was the manipulation of the the European conquerors. They had to create a negative aspect because when you really think about it, the
See,
positivity of our spirit was just so powerful that they had to put blockages everywhere. You know what I mean? Like I
Can we
said,
stop you? Can we stop using that European thing? Can we stop saying that? Because it's confusing to me. I don't know who the hell you're talking about.
the the okay, the corporation.
Because I mean, like the people that we call the European today they're all moderate. They're modern Europeans, right? So
Hmm.
most of the shit that was set, most of the stage that was set wasn't set by them.
That's true. That's true.
They just came in and fucked it up. See what I'm
True.
saying? So nothing is working how it was intended to work at all because the architects of it failed.
So what would you call them then? Other than
Shit,
I call them the corporation.
I call them heathens, barbarians. That's what the fuck they is.
I am
Like,
heathens,
I keep reading that Ben Franklin essay.
right?
I keep reading it, and he keep telling you they only came from one place, and they all one group of people. So if that's the case, who the fuck is they talking about when they say barbarians? They ain't talking about just any old body. They
True.
singling the group out.
Who's having a shower? Somebody's in water right now.
Oh, my fault. I was washing my hands off. I didn't know y'all could hear all that.
Yeah, yeah. Just mute your
Yeah,
mic if
yeah,
you're gonna just go off to the side.
yeah. Since y'all talking about body energies and all that, and I ain't really speak all night. But since y'all
Yeah, I
talking
was
about the
just
body,
about to ask you that. I was gonna ask you what your power, how to increase your internal energy, your chi.
um, I make music. I don't know. I feel like music.
So basically, you actually deal with the manipulation of vibration. Then.
Yep, I produce, and when you produce music, whatever sound that come out those speakers, it either gives off a positive or a negative reaction. I mostly get positive reactions. You
Okay,
know,
question for you is, do you know about the 440, the 432 hertz?
and a little bit about it. Yeah. But that's
So
supposed to be like a healing frequency, but they switched it
Did
to a
didn't
higher.
the bull Rockefeller change music to it was like
440.
440?
Yeah. So I'm wondering when you make music, right, and it's coming out as a 440 frequency, do you have a machine that could change it to 432? And do you put out your like CDs or your MP3s or anything like that at a 432 hertz so that therefore it's harmonic to the human hearing, or you just go with the 440?
I'm not even sure how to change the
There's
hertz.
there's a plug-in called an audio tuner where you can adjust the frequency level.
There you
That's what
go.
I use.
What's it called?
It's an audio tuner. It's a few of them out there. It's a whole gang of them. They plug in. I don't know if you're using digital or analog. It'd be more expensive if you use analog, but you're probably using digital, right?
Yeah, I'm using
Computer.
Logic. Yeah.
All right, so there's a bunch of I don't know what you're gonna use for Logic, but just look up audio tuner. You should probably find a free one.
There you go. We just solved the problem today. Because now you're on that harmonic frequency. Jay's family is all big up in music and stuff like that. So is Nonetheless, aren't you, None?
Yeah, yeah. I'm more in the digital. I mean, a lot of the acoustic um, instruments. I can't leave that to my family. You know what I mean? My sons and them. They. I got them into it. But yeah, digital. Now everything can be manipulated.
So can you do you have the audio tuner?
Um, I'm not too familiar with all the plugins because it's right now. To be honest with you, is we're in like a plugin revolution right now. There's so many plugins now, man.
Yeah, but I'm talking strictly about the hertz because the thing is, like I said, if they call them the what do you call it, the Rothschild, right? basically the rotten children change the frequency. I think it's up to us to change it back. You know what I mean? And when we put something out, I think we should put it out in the 432 hertz and make sure that we're harmonic.
See, it's a lot to do with the frequency thing and all that. A lot of that shit is new to them, right? Like, manipulating that and that phase of it is really new to them. And the Cobras that's why I think we got to do a show called Knowing the Enemy, right? Because a lot of the challenges we face on a scientific level is coming from a specific group, right? And if you know who that group is, then you can figure out what they're trying to do. But it's kind of like they're hypnotizing you. The group that's behind it is called Malthusians. This is a group that's made up of scientists and mathematicians primarily. Bill Gates is a Malthusian. That's why he's always doing some experiments over in Africa on people. They have an agenda, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a part of their agenda is to kill off a certain amount of people, and the other part of their agenda is to find a way to control people, basically. And one of their tools is the harmonic frequency.
You said you said they called the Malthusians?
See, you can't see the problem if you don't know who you can't see who hitting you in the dark if you can't see who throwing the punches. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we keep looking at the same old culprit. That's not them. They have a certain job to do. And that's it. Like us, we're like most of us are groups, not just saying us, like, you know, and what they call an Aboriginal community, but like as a whole, we're all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, like, everybody should have a job and a position to play. That's the only way you gonna fight this fight.
So is it that Thomas Robert Malthus?
That's the grand teacher. That's the one who they follow. His teachings. See, he produced all of these people today that like Sinetta and them. All of that science that they depend on comes from him.
Right.
Those people come from him. Those people who created that stuff, that's who it come from. So all of that, anything scientific, that's who you're dealing with. Anything financial, then you may be talking about a Rothschild situation. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta know. So if I know who I'm dealing with, then I can go back and research and see what he told them to do. Now I know how to defend myself.
Right. I'm definitely gonna.
You understand what I'm saying?
You brought that up that one time. I'm definitely gonna read into that.
Right.
How you say it? Malthusian?
Malthusians. Like, see, like we'll point the finger at one culprit. If that's how we keep getting sucker punched. Cause we looking at the left, we forgot all about the right. It ain't just one person. This is a collective effort.
It's anybody. It's Malthusian, Malthusian, and it's created by Thomas Robert Malthus.
Right, see, Darwin, all of them people come from up under his teachings. Darwin, all of them. That's why I keep saying, when you're dealing with Sinetta and them, just attack the science. And don't just go in there and try to talk all that scientific talk. Attack the motherfuckers who came up with it.
True.
End of the conversation.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, because that's where it all comes from. That's why I keep asking that question. Nobody answered it yet. But I keep answering the question because I want to see who's going to figure it out. Who the fuck created the DNA? Who came up with that shit? Because then that's going to lead you right back to Robert Malthus.
Right. You attack them with their own weapons.
Right.
Yeah.
See, and he didn't really know shit. You got to remember, a lot of these people, they just was learning how to read.
It's
you understand what I'm saying?
When you look back in the history,
smart. They was poor. They was poor. They couldn't have been smart.
True, true. Oh, even the royal families, they didn't know how to read.
Yeah, a lot of them didn't know how to read. That was a privilege.
Yep.
Let me mute for a minute. I'm about to pick up a passenger.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, but you got to go back to the old philosophy: no weapon against you against me shall prosper. So
Well, has anybody on the panel read The Art of War by Sun Tzu?
I have.
You
Not in
gotta
its completion, but I have a little bit.
you gotta know who you're dealing with by knowing your enemy, right? Then you know yourself first, right? Because the thing is, when it comes down to it, I I don't even have to shoot a shot to win this war. You know what I mean?
mm-mm.
All I have to do is just keep doing that what we've been doing, having great conversations. People will actually join in and realize that, you know what, we're talking about things that actually mean something. And I guarantee every single person on this panel has thought about something that we're talking about, that we've been talking about. You know what I mean? That we've been looking into, trying to look deeper into ourselves, ask ourselves the questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the problem with them that they can't figure out. They every time they try to come with some type of cold war against the original people, right?
Mhm.
They can't figure out how it's not going to affect them in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Okay, the problem with the drug game when they put drugs in our community was that our people, a lot of our people got smart and was like, you know what? I'm not selling drugs in my community. I'm gonna go out to these white kids, out to these communities, and sell it to them. That's where it became a problem. You know what I'm saying? So anything they put in our community to harm us, it starts affecting them. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't really. All I try to do is try to attack them and their with their money, and their money is us. When we start
Mhm.
figuring out how to control us,
Oh,
and
it,
then it's going to really hurt them because
mhm.
once we understand what they're doing,
But the thing
we
is,
understand and we understand the truth,
but hold on for a second.
it benefits us.
Like I said, the ones who are actually fucking up the system are criminals, bro. The criminals from all over. The criminals from South Africa. The ones who
Right,
got kicked out of South Africa, those criminals who started apartheid and shit like that. Guess what? Their ancestors or descendants are here.
right.
Okay? The ones who started doing the genocide over there in Europe. Guess where they're at? They're in South America. They're here. Okay.
The know nothings, the know nothing parties.
No, yeah, the fucktards, I like to call them. Okay, the ones who cause trouble over there in China. What do you call it? They're here. Okay, and now they're in politics, parlor tricks. Okay, we got women. Actually, we have guys changing their sexuality to become women politicians, and you wonder where all this shit comes from. Okay, we got women changing their sexuality to become politicians. I'm sorry, but if you're on a whole bunch of drugs, you can't be a politician. You know what I mean? And I think back in,
Yeah.
we need to bring back where our leaders are actually fit individuals, not only mind, body, but spirit too. You know what I'm saying? They should be physically fit, not overweight. They should be physically, mentally strong. Okay, they should be not only looking at the thing is when you start having your whole consciousness on a deeper level where you actually care about what goes into your body, you care about how you think, you care about the way you are and how the way you speak. You know what I mean? That there you can see a true leader. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought to myself, I'm looking back in history and I'm like, where's the Real leaders, man. You know what I mean? I don't really want my preacher to look like half dead vampire.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want my president to be an overweight stick trying to keep a strand of hair on his head. Like, shave the shit off, man. Grow a beard. Like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? And that looks ridiculous. You look ridiculous. Okay, in Calgary we have a what do you call it? East Indian mayor, overweight dude, homosexual. Like, come on, man. Like, dude, like, how can I take you seriously? It's like a overweight personal trainer trying to tell me how to be fit. You know what I mean? And nothing against overweight people, but guess what? You're not in the right mindset. You're on. There, a lot of those guys are on freaking drugs, man. They're on tons and tons of painkillers and pharmaceutical drugs and all this kind of. It changes your perception of reality. If you're going to change your like that Jenner dude, that Bruce Jenner dude, he wants to be a woman. Okay, fine. Don't get into a position where you can tell me what to do. You see what I'm saying? Please don't, because I don't have I can't take you seriously. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Look at most of the politicians in the UN. Look at most of the politicians around the world. I would never like. Come on, man. What are you doing? You don't look like you're strong. You don't look like you're meant physically. Honestly, if I look at you, you ain't mentally strong. Sorry. And according to like I could ask the psychologist that's on the panel right now. If I am dealing with a weight issue and I'm on a whole bunch of drugs, am I fit to run office?
You definitely right about not even just psychiatric medications for any affliction that you suffer from. All those things definitely do alter your brain, alter your perception of reality.
Right?
It all plays a part, and for real, healthy body, healthy mind, and vice
Right?
versa.
Healthy body, healthy mind. Okay. That's how we got to look at things, man. We need to get deeper into our psyche and freaking bring like honestly, I'm working on my superpower, and I think everybody should work on their superpower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For real. Like when you're at work, treat it like kung fu. You know what I mean? How are you standing up straight? Are you what do you call it? Are you breathing? Are you getting enough oxygen to your brain? Right? Does your heart have enough space to pump? Right? Before you go and put that burger in your mouth, look at it and be like, you know what? Is this what I really want? Does my body feel like good enough? You know what I mean? Only when you come to the point where it's, oh man, I've been diagnosed with diabetes. Oh, I've been diagnosed with this. I've been diagnosed with that. That's the only time you change. That's bullshit. Let's start changing now, because now you can know that whatever I put in my mouth, it will turn to energy. But guess what? It comes with a lot of other stuff. Can my body digest it? When John Wayne died, they found 50 pounds of beef in his intestinal walls because it was an undigested beef,
Ugh.
right? Am I moving enough? Do I need a walk after I eat something, right? When I walk, am I walking with posture, right? Am I taking every step with intention? You know what I'm saying? And little by little, guess what? If you do it repetitiously, that's what makes change, because it's a repetition. They say it takes 5,000 repetitions before your muscle knows exactly what to do. and it has memory, right? So with that, I want to thank everybody for coming on the show. I want to. This is my first time. You know what I mean? And I think we're gonna have more and more deep conversations, and different topics, and we'll get deeper and deeper into the abyss. Where we are the light that shines within, because I know for a fact that deeper down you go into the abyss. What do you see? You see animals that are scary as hell, but guess what? They can produce light. And from the darkness, let there be light. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Next time you do beyond, you could probably build on like esoteric knowledge of the Indians here,
Oh yeah, for sure.
the stuff that we was doing here.
Like I said, I want to get deep. I want to get deep into it because you know what? We can shed light on melanin so much, but guess what? We already know we're dark. We already know that we come from the light. Whenever they look at our cells, the deeper they go, all they see is light. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And only we as individuals, only we can look in the mirror and say to ourselves, you know what? I'm rare. I'm beautiful. I'm the one on this planet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
We're all Neo. You know what I mean? We're all Neo, whether anybody likes it or not.
that's
Facts.
how I see it, man. And as soon as everybody else realized that, we could bring this whole thing down, man. Because I'm just ready for change, man. I'm sick of
But
seeing
change,
how
but
people walking
change,
around with their heads down and
but
just,
change, but change starts with you, bro. Change starts with you actually looking at your brother and be like, "Yo, what's up, man? How you doing?" You know?
oh yeah. I mean, and when I go about in the world, I act as respectful as I can to everybody that I'm around. No, I'm not really disrespectful. I don't really believe in passing around negative energy like that, especially in your first interactions with people. You're not supposed to interact negatively with somebody. You want your last memory, like everybody's last memory of you, like that they had with you, to be positive all the time, like all the time.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way because when you spread positivity, it's like a ripple effect. It's like when you spread positivity amongst others, that positivity ripple effects on they spread it amongst others, and then they spread it amongst others, and so on. It's like a ripple effect. So I don't really believe in the whole negativity thing, you know.
True
But
that.
yeah, I definitely do want to hear you build on the esoteric knowledge that we was on over here, because that's
Well, you know what?
that's
You know what? The thing about it is that a lot of our esoteric knowledge has um, been hidden. But the way we can actually dig those esoteric knowledge out is looking within, because we are the ones who came up with this stuff. Anything we speak into existence is what we is. We're the fastest on land and we're the fastest in the water. And we've proven it in every single Olympics that we go into. Okay? We're
yeah,
just waiting. Now, one day you will actually see the fastest in the air. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's when you'll start realizing, man, we rose so high that in seconds, I'll be like, yo, man, I'm gonna go to Mexico. Boom, jump. You know what I mean? Real. I feel like going to China today. I'm gonna go run across that ocean. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. That's the type of thinking we need, like that abstract mind, the universal mind, like. That's the type of thinking we need right now. Like we need to come up with our own inventions. If the cops is killing people on the streets, like I was talking about earlier, Tenkaara, about
Hmm.
the come up with technology that helps people be safer against bullets.
Well,
If you're so scared of it and everything, just come up with a technology that will help defend you against bullets. Like I
I
said,
got
like
it.
something, huh?
I have a good invention right now. It's called a radio scanner. And because anytime you hear the radio scanner, you know exactly where they are. Oh, 2987, 2987, down here on 6th Street. We're just not at 6th Street. We just left. Wherever they are, we ain't.
Yeah, being
And
preemptive to the situation, that's cool.
you know what I mean?
That's always a plus, but we definitely do need to have our own technologies, period. Like our own
Oh,
vehicles, our own every
we got.
phones, definitely phones. If anything, if we gonna be on that
Oh,
so much,
oh,
you know,
I'm working on Tenkaara phone, yo. I'm working on that Thai data. Thai data.
Tenkaara phone.
Thai data's got that hookup and that knowledge. You know what I mean? Like we're working on a whole new reality, a whole new paradigm. We're going, what do you call it? Connecting to our indigenous roots, the Kusa Nation. Shout out to the
Mm.
Kusa Nation. Shout out to the Iroquois Nation. You know what I mean? And basically, like going and dealing with those instruments instead of a foreign instrument that really has no business, because when you really think about it, if I go to China, I see Chinese people that look like Chinese people in politics. Okay? When I
Yeah,
go to India, I see East Indian people that look like East Indian in politics. Okay? I go to Africa, I see African people that look like African people in politics. Why is it that America, we have all these Malthusians up in the place that don't look like us, that don't represent us, and is acting like a bunch of fucktards. And we still complaining about it, then guess what? We are still under the colonizer's thumb. Okay? Mr. Donald Trump does not represent us. Mr. What do you call it? Justin Trudeau doesn't represent us. Okay? And I would like to see more of like the nation, like the Kusa Nation and the Iroquois Nation. I want to see their political agenda. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop paying attention to these people's agenda. Make their agenda in their houses. Okay. Not saying what was that saying that Empress said? We're not saying we hate you, but fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, real
that's
thing,
real
buddy.
talk, man.
All right. Thank you very much, and we out.